Rumor has it that she was fooling around on him with wealthy men from New York that are already committed. What's up, my Housewives Relatable listeners? It's your girl Stella coming to you once again to talk about it all. Hi guys, I hope everyone is doing good. You know we have to talk about the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Last night's episode, the season finale, the last episode, part 3 reunion. I'm wondering how everyone is rating that episode. For my part, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10 because, to be honest, guys, I am a little bit frustrated. I was expecting a little bit more from that reunion. There was a lot of hype when it came to part 3, and there's just so much information that was left out of that reunion. And even on the Peacock version, which was very difficult for me to get at this point, but I finally got through it, and there's really not much more on Peacock, so I think it's a little bit disappointing, considering that there's a lot of things that we have covered throughout the season when it comes to, private investigators, Margaret's smear campaign. There was just so much information, just a little bit more on pizza oven gates, and all of that didn't make the edit, except for Joe's part for a pizza oven, right? So in the extended version, they do talk about it a little bit more extensively, but there's really not that much there. So I give that episode, I rate it a 7 out of 10. However, I have to give bonus points, 10 out of 10 for John Fuda, and I will get to that later, okay? Like I said, I'm a little bit upset when it comes to part 3 reunion, and I just find that a lot of the castmates are getting away with bad behavior, but anyways, we'll get to that. So Andy starts and he introduces the men. So at the beginning, it's very playful. Andy makes his usual jokes like the Botox and all of that. And he goes around the room and, introduces the men. So one thing that I did notice during, that quick intro, Teresa appears to be somber. She appears to be deflated. The men are cracking some jokes and everyone is laughing. They're trying to just keep it light at the very beginning, but Teresa never ever smiles. So you could tell that this is deeply affecting her at that point. So Andy wasted no time and asked Louis to explain his position or explain himself when it came to the pajamas comments made earlier this season. So if you recall at the beginning, when Louis was talking to Joe Gorga at the Fuda's house, he said, "I wear your father's pajamas at night to make your nieces feel loved and secure, right? Safe, basically." So Louis just went and explained his version of what he meant when he said that. And he also explained to at that point, I guess he was talking directly to Joe, and he was saying, "Listen, I didn't mean to say this to you to sound creepy. I said it in an endearing way. I was trying to connect with you since the very beginning that I've met you. I've tried to connect with you in so many different ways, but it just never really happened. Just want to say, Louis, this is not the way to connect with people. I really don't care if you do wear Nono's pajamas at night. I don't care if they're old. I don't care if they're new. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is the fact that I do know that you said it." And that's something that you should have just kept to yourself. There's just certain things that you're not supposed to say out loud. You're just supposed to keep that to yourself wearing Nono's pajamas at night, no matter what the reason is. We did not need to know this information. Us as the viewers, we don't care. It's creepy. It doesn't matter if it's true or not true, or how you try to slice it or dice it. But at the end of the day, you keep that information to yourself. The same way that you would greet people with a shirt on next time that you do a reunion. Okay, it's fine if you're changing yourself in the change room, but you don't go around and meet people that are dressed to the nine or about to get dressed without a t-shirt on or without something on. You know, I find Louis has a weird way of connecting with people. I think he likes to say, oh, you know, I'm trying to connect, I'm trying to be warm, but I find he's kind of weird that way. Put a shirt on next time. Anyways, so so then he explains the whole thing about Nono pajamas. We talked about this quite extensively, guys. So when it comes to that, you got my opinion. I just really think that he should have just kept that information to himself. Didn't sound right. And, you know, people made fun of him for several weeks after that comment. So Louis proceeds to say to Joe Gorga, I wanted to be your brother-in-law. And then Joe listens and says, okay, you know what? I want to believe you, but I really do want to believe you. But every time that I believe you, you screw me. So, you know, they kind of go at it a little bit. Louis appears to be practicing, you know, active listening at that point and listening to Joe Gorga and his hurt feelings. So Joe Gorga says to his sister, you know, my sister, you were the best when you came back from prison. You were all namaste. You were like positive. You had a different mindset. Like we were getting along. You were the best. We saw you every day or called you every day. So you could tell that Joe was trying to turn a corner there just by trying to kind of like, you know, reminisce a time where things were not so bad. And then at that point, Teresa just shuts it down and says, yeah, it's just because we were filming. It's because we're on the show. So basically, you don't really care about me. You just care about the show. That's what she's saying to her brother. And at that point, you could just feel everyone in the room is just like, what? Really? Like even Jennifer, I felt her, like her initial reaction after Teresa said this, she looked a little bit like surprised by her friend's comment, even Jennifer, right? So that's my perception of it. So, you know, it's funny because it kind of took me to a time where actually it was season 7 when Teresa came back from prison. You know, she was good with her brother. She was good with Melissa. Her and Melissa had a chat on Christmas Day in the kitchen. And they're just like, you know what? From now on, we're going to be good sister-in-laws. Let's make a deal. Let's have each other's back. Let's not, you know, talk about each other. And if I hear something about you, I come to you. If you hear something about me, you come to me, right? Let's stop the war. I don't have time for this anymore. I realize what is important in life. If you guys remember, Teresa was wearing a red jacket and she was having Christmas at Melissa and Joe's house. So, you know, to be honest with you, I like when the sister-in-laws get along, even if it's not for real and it's for fake. I would much rather see them get along on TV than fight like this, because even if it's for my own entertainment, I find it quite sad to tell you the truth. So, so yes, it did take me back to that moment where, you know, Teresa took the phone to call Jacqueline because Dolores was going to Jacqueline's house and just to, I can't remember if it was New Year's. I think it was New Year's. So she was having New Year's at Teresa first, and then she was going to Jacqueline. So when Teresa picked up the phone and said, hey, hi, Jacqueline, I just wanted to wish you a happy New Year. Rosie and Richie and Kathy Wakili were in the background, and they said, hi, Tree, happy New Year, happy New Year. And then it was like dead silence on the other end. Teresa said to Jacqueline, do you always have your calls on speakerphone? And Teresa never acknowledged that her cousins were there. She didn't say Happy New Year to you two guys. I hope to see you soon. Like, she just basically kind of ghosted them on the call. She pretended that they were not even there, right? And she even said, those guys are not my family. I know who was there for me, and that's not Kathy, Rosie, and Richie. My real family and friends are here, not over there, right? So, you know, it's really hard for Teresa to let people be there for her,